This channel is proudly sponsored by the Red Room. Please check out the link to their store in the description and in the pinned comment below for exclusive tabletop RPG products you will find nowhere else. Thank you. Hi, this is my review of that mythology game, The Hero's Journey. This is a competitive tabletop role-playing game for up to 20 participants and a game master. You can roleplay any sort of mythology, any sort of clash between two opposing forces. This means that you could have an adventure between one villain and a hero, or perhaps 10 villains and 10 heroes. And if you have uneven numbers, you could also have a trickster, someone that is pulling the strings from behind or carrying out his or her own agenda. Now let's talk about the quality of the PDF. When it comes to criticisms, this document has no bookmarks and no hyperlinks, so it's not going to be easy to navigate this PDF. I recommend that you print this PDF immediately. Thankfully, the graphic design is somewhat bare bones, quite minimalistic, so you're going to save a lot of money on ink if you decide to print this. There are no illustrations besides the cover. Everything is well written, organized, and explained. So apart from the bookmark thing, the quality is pretty decent. Now let's talk about the contents. This game features a simple premise. You have two opposing forces following a simple system, and they duke it out, they fight each other. The heroes are usually looking for 3 elixirs, although you can set up other objectives as well. Gameplay is quite simple. This is a dice pool system. You have 10-sided dice. They form a pool based on your attributes and skills. So you have an attribute plus a skill, and that creates your dice pool. Each die that meets a number or rolls above it counts as a success. So let's say an action is of difficulty 6. Every d10 that rolls 6 or above counts as a success. You try to roll more successes than your opponent, or depending on the task at hand, you try to meet a number of successes. When it comes to combat, you roll initiative, but when actions happen, you can actually carry out more than one action per turn. Any action that you take above one action reduces the dice pool of each action by 1, and the difficulty of the task goes up by 1 as well. So let's say that you want to dodge and strike during the same turn. Then both the dodge action and the attack action would reduce their dice pool by -1, and the difficulty of each action, instead of being, let's say, 6, now is 7, and so forth. It is very simple. When it comes to creating your character, it's all about point distribution. You distribute points on attributes, skills, special skills, etc. You choose an archetype depending on the villain or the hero that you are creating. You have archetypes such as Bruiser, Statesman, Patriot, Vigilante, Anti-Hero, Genius. When it comes to villains, you have Brute, Megalomaniac, Zealot, Psycho, Inept, Trickster. The Trickster is quite special when compared to the other archetypes. You could be on the side of the heroes or on the villains, or perhaps you want to carry out your own agenda. You have a secret objective, so you could be the only winner of the scenario or the entire campaign. Weapons and gear are also quite simple. They have minor mechanical effects, unless they are major treasures. Now let's talk about scenario creation. In this tabletop RPG, world building happens almost exclusively on the part of the player characters, because you have two factions, either player character villains or player character heroes, and the trickster. But on the part of the game master, the GM works as a mediator, as a true referee. You are there to carry out this session in an orderly or fair way. That is, this is not about cheating through metagaming, but rather through the vile plans and dastardly deeds of the opposing forces. Heroes can also employ strategies and tactics, of course, clever plans, because they are going to need them. The villains create the adventure sites, the traps, the monsters, and they roleplay as those monsters. I would also recommend that they roleplay the execution of various traps and hazards. While the heroes create their own ship, that is, just like the Argonauts of old, they have a ship for all of the heroic forces. The heroes also created treasures that they can find. These could be artifacts of legendary power, just like Excalibur, and these objects are hidden within the dangerous sites that the villains are creating. It's up to the villains to present the obstacles, the enemies, the hazards, in order to destroy the heroes. Of course, the Game Master is there to make sure that the villains do not go too over the top when it comes to eliminating the heroes. After all, this is a competitive experience, so you want things to be somewhat fair. This is part of the duty of the Game Master. Now, when it comes to combat and damage, as you take damage, you're going to enter this downward spiral sort of situation. So this game can get a bit gritty at times. You can play any sort of mythology, an existing mythology, or something that you create with the other players. You can take things as over the top as you want, you can easily modify or tweak the system, the trappings, etc. The villains and the players are going to create the process, the idea behind the scenario or the campaign, the backstory, rumors, different non-player characters, bad guys, good guys, allies, enemies, etc. And they execute the scenario and the campaign until only one force is left standing. The heroes, the villains, or perhaps the trickster. What do I think about that mythology game, the hero's journey? This is a very interesting concept. It reminds me of the origins of tabletop role-playing games, specifically in the Blackmoor campaign. It was quite common for the players to duke it out against each other. Some of them would be the villains, some of them would be the heroes. And even in some Gygaxian instances, there were also those player versus player types of situations. In many tabletop role-playing games, that is usually not the norm, because you want to fight together to oppose this major threat. But here, some of the players are that major threat. I think that the book could have definitely benefited from additional information on how to carry out this heroic endeavor of having perhaps 10 or 20 people participating as the heroes and the villains. It's not that easy to manage, especially when it comes to beginner role players. But apart from that, you have a simple system, a simple character creation process, and many ideas on how to carry out these overarching large-scale scenarios and campaigns. So if you are looking for that particular competitive roleplay experience, definitely get that mythology game, The Hero's Journey. And you don't need to gather 20 people to play this. You could enjoy this game with just a single hero and a villain, and perhaps a trickster as well, to add a bit of spice to the situation. So, definitely get that mythology game, The Hero's Journey, if you are looking for a competitive type of scenario or campaign. Thank you for watching this review. Don't forget to leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. This has been Abraham El Jaguar, a professional game master. If you want me to run a game for you, please check out the pinned comment below. And remember, roleplay solves everything. Once again, thank you, and see you later.